Hey everyone, Dan here. We are near market close on Thursday, June 17th. Today we're going to do an update on CLOV. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps a lot. And feel free to comment below with thoughts, ideas, questions, tickers that I should cover, whatever tickles your fancy. I look at those every night, though it may take me a few days to get back to you. All right, so CLOV has continued to sell off here. We'll take a look at the short data in a minute, but basically, it had this huge sell-off, broke out of this downtrend, but then basically has been in this slightly down consolidation channel ever since. Wasn't able to build or sustain any support at that 1525 or above, even though it made an attempt at 16 there, and then lost support that it had at this 1348 that we had charted, and now has turned that directly into resistance. So I want to do a couple of things. One, I want to take a look at the short data to just sort of get that squared away, and then I want to zoom in and take a closer look at what's happening on the CLOV chart. So on the short side of things, just so that we can kind of talk about it and then move beyond, as of close yesterday, CLOV didn't have a bunch of shorts running into it to try to sell. That basically happened about a week and a half or so ago. And since then, they've been mostly staying away, but especially the last couple of days, haven't really been a huge impact on this day or this day. To me, that's primarily just led by potentially institutions and retail just staying out. You see institutions selling a bit on both days, and obviously inflow a little bit outpacing the outflow, but the distribution of the volume is what is hurting the stock price at the moment. So even though the inflow is higher, the volume analysis shows that the selling pressure is coming in just much more concretely because it's being able to keep the price suppressed at the moment with all of these high sell volume areas. So that's basically what's kind of running right now. It gives CLOV a good opportunity if it could bring in some volume and some, excitement that it could, make a run at building some price and calling some price strength back. But you see this average 3-month volume of nearly 48 million, and today it's just at about half that. So, if there were ever a time for CLOV to be running in with a bunch of volume, a bunch of buy volume to help push the price back up and recover some of the losses from this $28 level, these would be the days while these shorts seem to be staying out of it. That would certainly draw shorts back in, I'm sure, but you could sort of address that at that time. And for the time being, having low volume and not having buying pressure coming in is just what's keeping that price down. If we look at exactly what's going on today, it's a little bit of a mixed bag. So it closed yesterday. There was 20K available from Interactive Brokers. So fairly large position closed and was available this morning. And then a bunch of additional shorts closed as the day went on. Now, starting about 1:15, 1:30 in the afternoon, there have been some shorts coming back in relatively small numbers, but they are coming back in little by little. So I'm not 100% sure why. I mean, maybe they think that sort of retail's inability to come in and drive this price back up is indicative of just all of this hype dying down and folks now being pretty complacent to stay away from CLOV, and or their focus just being drawn elsewhere. But I do think it's pretty telling that's without CLOV bringing in a bunch of volume today, with the shorts keeping their distance, that could send a signal to them, hey, maybe we can push this back down to 7, or something like that. So that gives them enough skin on the or meat on the bone, to try to push this from, taking positions here around 13 or so and trying to push it down to, 10, 9, 8, 7, something like that. So that's what I would be cautious of. if this volume stays away, do shorts come in and say, oh, okay, there's still a bunch that we could push this down, so maybe we should re-engage even at this $12, $13 price point. So that's what I think is happening on the short seller side of things. Let's zoom in and sort of look at this like slight downtrend. Sorry, not slight downtrend. This downtrend that Clove is under right now. I was going to say slightly down channel, but it's not really a channel. It's more like a downtrend. And now it's sort of increasing distance from, the down channel. There is, it could possibly be running a little bit more like this, lapping off the top of that other one and aligning more right around here, which does, give it a little less distance from being able to break out of that, but it still is quite caught under the weight of a bunch of those lower highs, and it hasn't been able to build anything. It has this current, basically like 2-day support zone down here right around 1250, but it's not really doing anything significant from that. So, it tried to earlier on today, but the minute it hit its first resistance zone that we had already charted, that 1348, it just pushed right back down. It wasn't able to sustain any of that at all. So at the moment, what I think we're looking at is, Clove needs volume. Clove needs buying pressure back in. aka that's just another way to say volume, and needs to be cautious of shorts coming in and deciding that they can push this down another 50%, because of the volume that has stayed out of Clove on the same days that the shorts have stayed out of Clove for the most part. If it does have a chance to run back up, I would really be looking at running through these downtrends and getting over those. Basically, what that's going to mean is just getting support at that 1348 level, and then getting itself some run room to 14, probably having some resistance to turn to support here just over 14, and then moving on to that 1525 zone. If we want to zoom back out to see where we might catch on the downside of things, not that anyone wants it to fall more, but it certainly could happen. But if we look, there's not a ton to go off of, unfortunately, but we do have like this area here with this turned resistance to support. So that's a little something to go off of. So I would look for a catch zone there right around 1232 if it needs it, just a little bit above where this recent support has started to align. And then prior to that, I think the next strongest zone is going to be right around 10. So it does have this sort of like free fall potential, I think, if it can't catch itself at this current like 1250 level, or at least at 1232. There's not really a bunch historically that's going to prevent it from falling close to $10 to start with. And then if it gets pushed below there, then you're probably looking at this 937 and then 867. So, could be a pretty rough road ahead if Clove can't turn this around quickly. And I think it just has potentially like a day or two to do it. Otherwise, we'll be keeping an eye on what comes in with the day-over-day short volume ratio, see if that creeps back up into the mid-high 20s or even 30s, which again would indicate to me that they feel that there's much more meat on this bone and that they could push it down even further, even though it has already been lopped from these highs the other day at 28 to less than half of that at the moment. All right, it is never a dull moment with Clove, at least as you zoom out and take a look at things. It'll be an interesting one to see how it plays out, but volume, attention, building some price strength, getting out from under these downtrends while the short sellers seem to be relatively staying on the sidelines, I think is imperative. Otherwise, I think you're staring down the barrel of $10 again. Well, good luck if you're in this one. I definitely empathize with you, and I wish you the best. And I appreciate you watching. I will see you in the next video.